Okay, so we're going to start lesson 1-3, horizontal shifts, and this is video 1 for 1-3. And our learning targets are that we can determine the effect transformations have on a parent graph. Alright, so in this course we're going to discuss 6 functions, but we'll really hone in and focus on 3 main functions: linear, quadratic, and exponential. And in the intro lesson, you saw that each of these 3 parent functions, or basic functions, what they look like. And we're going to look at what happens when you change that parent functions. Transformations of functions are very similar to what you do in geometry when moving figures around the coordinate plane. So in this lesson, we're going to reference A, C, H, or K, and it's going to be a positive real number. Alright, so the first thing here is that if h is added, so added to the variable of a function, where we go from f of x to f of x plus h inside the parentheses, then the graph of f of x will be horizontally shifted to the left. Okay, so notice what's going on here. This is positive h plus or x plus h, and it's shifting it to the left. So really you need to remember that it's opposite of what is going on and in the parentheses. If it's positive, you're going to shift it to the left. If it's negative, you're actually going to shift it to the right. What's actually happening here is, hold on, let me change this. Okay, what's actually happening here is we have our parent function x minus a negative value of h, and what happens there is that this double negative right here becomes a positive, and that might be confusing at first, but that's really essentially the reason why it's a shift to the left whenever h happens to be positive on the inside of parentheses. If c is subtracted from the variable of the function, where we go from f of x to f of x minus h, then the graph of f of x will be horizontally shifted to the right. It will be horizontally shifted to the right. So just think opposite of whatever the sign is in front of the h. So notice that anytime we are making a change inside the parentheses, things shift in the opposite direction of what you would expect. So that's really what I want you to remember there, is that anytime you're making a change inside parentheses, think opposite of what you're seeing inside the parentheses. So if it's positive, I want you to think shift to the left. If it's negative, I want you to think shift to the right. So add, shift to the left; subtract, shift to the right. So adding h moves the function to the left, the negative direction. And we talked about this up here a little bit, where we had f of x minus a negative h. And here's a little analogy. So imagine you will inherit a fortune when your age is equal to 25. If you change that age to plus 4 equals 25, then you will get it when you are 21. So think about that. Age plus 4 equals 25. You'd have to subtract 4 from both sides of your equation. Adding 4 made it happen earlier. Okay, so you're getting the inheritance earlier. And I know that seems kind of counterintuitive, but just if anything you need to remember from this is add on the inside of the parentheses, shift left; subtract, go to the right. Okay, so let's look at this example. It says, write an equation that would transform the parent function y equals 3 to the x to the left 2 points. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write out my parent function again, and I like to write it with parentheses up in the exponent position here, because that's where our shifting is going to happen when we're dealing with exponential equations. So if we're shifting this to the left 2 points, remember, if you're shifting left, you need to think opposite of what that sign would be. So I'm thinking negative, but it shouldn't be negative, it should be positive. So this should be positive on the inside here. So this will be x plus whatever value I'm shifting it, and so that's 2. So this will be x plus 2 inside the parentheses. So that's taking this function and it's shifting it to the left 2 positions or 2 units. Okay, so that's that equation. And notice there's nothing that we're adding onto the end here. This is only in the parentheses. All right, let's do 3b. It says write an equation that would transform the parent function y equals 3 to the x to the right 3 points. So I'm going to start by writing this as y equals 3 raised to the parentheses. I'll put x in here. So right means I'm going to the right, so you got to think opposite. It wouldn't be positive, it would be negative. So this needs to be x minus 3, and that would shift it 3 units to the right. So I'm just going to kind of show you what that would visually look like here on this graph. If I were to pick just a point, if I were shifting this 3 units to the right, it would go 1, 2, 3 units to the right. And I'm just going to kind of sketch the same pattern that would look like here, as close as I can get. All right, make sure you go ahead and try the few you try questions, and then I'll see you in the next video.